Welcome back, boys. 2022 season underway. We're back into the full swing of things. Fantasy football's back. Football's back. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Nick, good to see you again. How are you doing?
Doing great, my man. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. We don't want to hold the people up too more. We've all been anxious all off season, so let's get into it. All right. First game we got up. Faze Kev looking to make a redemption after their Toilet Bowl appearance last year and going into the late 2 years prior. Comes out hot to start the year, getting the Kiffin Award with a nice 156-point performance over the Texas size 10 Force.
Yeah, so this all started here for Kev with what I would assume is probably their team captain here, Josh Allen, 37.5 points on Thursday Night Football. He absolutely balled out. He was slinging that thing all over the field. Rams were daring them to throw the ball, and he was like, fuck it, I'll throw this thing all over the field. 1 point of emphasis, though, Kevin. Next week, my boy Dawson Knox better get some fucking looks, okay? You better figure that out this week at practice. Next up here, we had Michael Pittman, who's absolutely a stud in that Houston game. 9 receptions, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Absolute beast, looking like Kevin's great pick for his keeper, for his wide receiver one. Kevin also had the Dolphins D play very well for him. I believe they scored around like 29 points as they just absolutely made the Patriots look like the Dolphins had in the past like decade. And they just dismantled the Patriots with a nice 20-7 victory. And also Amon-Ra St. Brown was a shining moment for him. The sun god shines in Detroit as he put together 8 receptions and a touchdown. Everybody on Kevin's team seemed to do pretty well outside of Allen Robinson with that kind of fluky game from the Rams. And kind of speaking of the Rams, going into Travis's team over here, Travis, where was the disconnect between what was going on in your facilities and what was going on with Cam Akers over at the in Los Angeles?
Well, apparently Cam Akers must have been sleeping through our off-season workout program or something because he came in and was just not ready to go. His touches were limited, but he didn't do anything with them. He came in, got a fat goose egg. After we took him in the first round this year, that is just not what we want to see. He will be going to the bench, and he will have to earn his way back into our starting role.
Well, I dare say he's getting put in the doghouse.
Ooh, I would say that's fair to say. I mean, he's not starting, so that is the doghouse. We're not going to hear about it. Where else we went wrong this week? Williams, only 2. Our big 3 came to play. McCaffrey a little slow, but it was his first game back in a while, so we're not going to hold against him. But Devontae with 31 and Kelsey with 26 was nice to see. But yeah, sometimes you just run into the Kiffin Award winner and there's nothing you can do about it. But I feel like there was something we could do about it. Our lineup decisions were suspect. We didn't play great. We could have done more and won this game. But hats off to Faze Kev. They had a nice showing week 1 after a tough season last year. So good for them, but we need to do better going forward. All right. Second game up, we got Sticky Mistakes taking the Swiper Award after the most Swiper season last year over PC Principal with a victory of 123-89. This was our first of our 2 rivalry week preview matchups that we had this week. So let's see how they got it done. First off, Jefferson, looking to be as advertised. He promised the league and the world that he would be the number 1 receiver in football this year. And in week 1, he had the number 1 receiving performance. So far, so good on that promise. Diggs with 26 and to complement that, and it's really looking like this receiver room is going to be dangerous yet again. Some single-digit performances here at the bottom of the lineup kind of kept them down. And they saw Najee go out, which is sad. But the other way to look at it is that they still won with Najee going down. So this is looking to still be the same luck they had last year, which definitely pisses off the rest of the league. So hopefully it won't continue going forward.
No, this one gives me a reminder. There's 4 certainties in life: death, taxes, Kareem Hunt stealing Nick Chubb touchdowns, and Adam getting the easiest fucking schedule every single week in fantasy. And it just proves here again as he gets the PC principal who didn't show up to school today as he only put up 189 points in his first week of the season. Coop, it's not preseason anymore, bud. You got to get your team ready to go. And, it doesn't start off well when you disrespect your quarterback on Thursday, trying to make this little funny meme about him throwing a pick six against your team, which you obviously had locked and loaded. And he just kind of didn't want to come out and play for you. Speaking of people who didn't want to show up on Sunday, Alvin Kamara didn't feel like showing up either. But, he is going to have to show up to that court date. You best believe that. So that's going to be coming down soon. Keenan Allen ended up getting hurt here, which, again, you never want to see, similar to the Najee situation. We really hope that both of them are able to get back on the field here soon. Keenan Allen, one of the premier route runners in the league. Like, we just love watching him play. So hopefully he's got a speedy recovery. I don't know if he'll be ready for Thursday night this week, but hopefully he'll be back soon. We just love watching him play. And another thing I kind of thought was a little peculiar here with Coop's lineup is to start the season, he started the season starting 2 players from the New York Jets. The fucking New York Jets. How did you think that was a recipe for success? Like, it's the goddamn Jets, Coop. But this is just one of those stinker performances that happens the first week. I don't know if Coop was 100% ready to come out this week to play. Obviously, it didn't look like it, so they're going to have to recoup and try to do better next week. But this was a sloppy performance for their first week and in a rivalry week game, nonetheless.
Indeed. All right. Moving on to our second rivalry week preview matchup. Although this one didn't seem quite as hot and contested. This one was a little bit more one-sided than the last one. Although the last one was kind of just pathetic too. But Wallace Pluto 84 comes in off a consolation series appearance. They get 151-113 point victory over FrancyFeast.
Yeah, we're going to have to start here with kind of the elephant in the room. Dak Prescott going down with I think it was like a thumb injury, a hand injury, something, but it seems like he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So again, hoping for a speedy recovery for him so that he can get back on the field. But Noah's going to have to figure out a starting quarterback. I do believe he's got Captain Kirk on the bench, so he's going to be in good hands. There he is. There's the boy. Spartan dog, baby. And then next we got to shout out Saquon Barkley. He's been out of the lineups for the past couple seasons, just nagging injuries, and he came out and he absolutely balled out this last Sunday. So shout out Saquon. He played amazing. James Conner also was able to sneak in for a touchdown during that blowout the Cardinals faced from the Chiefs. Jamar Chase was, again, as good as advertised, absolutely balling out against the Steelers, 129 yards and a touchdown. And do I dare say stonks with 21.5 points after getting passed up by basically everybody, and nobody wanted to touch that shit. And Noah scoops him up, puts him in the flex, and he showed out for him first week. So shout out to Noah, shout out stonks. And also, I also want to point out that Noah had a almost 40-point defense performance on his bench from the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, the notorious Wallace Pluto defense there. That's just hella impressive. His starting defense got 20-something points, but I just had to shout that out. That was an incredible defensive performance.
Indeed, but that's the thing about having 5 defenses on your team. Even if one of them goes off, there's only a 20% chance that you started them. So,
yeah.
It's a lot of hindsight victories, I feel like. Yeah. But to each their own. On the flip side here, we had FrancyFeast taking the L after going in the lake last year. Takes the L week 1 to start this year. Obviously not ideal. And really, this was just mediocrity across the board that killed them. Kyler Murray was their high scorer with 25 in a blowout loss, which is okay, but not great from a quarterback. Derrick Henry only getting 8 was disappointing. He's usually the workhorse for their team. It was his first fantasy game back since last year, so obviously they wish they could have gotten more out of him. And then the big problem for this team going forward is Elijah Mitchell getting an MCL sprain. Obviously, we hope to see him come back sooner than later, but Hopefully he heals up quick and gets back to producing points for this team. And then they had some other decent performances, but it just wasn't quite enough to get the job done. 113 points is not going to really win you many games. You'd like to see some improvement coming off last season, but it did not appear to be there in week 1. We'll see if it's there in week 2. Fourth game we got up. Cleveland Steamers, fresh off a consolation appearance, putting the hammer down on the Philly Cheekles, coming off their first playoff appearance in franchise history. Cleveland Steamers win 155 to 137. Nick, tell us how your boys got it done. It must have felt good to see a Mahomes 40 bomb again.
Oh, baby. I tell you what, man, we had to spend the whole offseason hearing about, how Mahomes isn't that guy. All these other quarterbacks are better than him. He's not going to produce without Tyreek. And I mean, we talked about it all offseason. Like, we're just like, hey, this is what people are saying about you. People think that you're trash. People think that you're washed. People don't think you're that good. And he was like, hey, yeah, we're just going to come out and show everybody this year. It's going to be a little revenge tour that we're on. 360 yards, 5 touchdowns. Absolutely made the Cardinals look foolish the entire afternoon. And a nice little 43-point bomb. That's classic team captain Mahomes right there, leading the team. Next, we want to talk about our running backs, man. Our running backs are a big part of this team. Joe Mixon went out there, 140 all-purpose yards, 20 points. Didn't get a touchdown out of him, but we'll still take it. Nick Chubb had to hear all offseason about how he's a tier 4 running back and not worth a top 3-round pick. Yeah, how about 151 yards on your head? Fuck with me. All right, Lenny, we had to hear about, oh, he's overweight. Oh, he's out of shape. He's not going to be ready to play. Yeah, how about 127 of them things? Fuck off, all right? So we got the running back room. We got the boys. We know what we're capable of. The one thing that we got to do moving forward is we got to figure out how to get some more targets for our receivers. Terry McLaurin only getting 4 looks is absolutely unacceptable. Like, Washington needs to figure that out. He's a top-tier receiver in the league. Got to get him some more looks. Deontay, it's going to be interesting to see what's going on with Mitch Trubisky this year. I didn't think it was all that pretty on Sunday, but we did get to see what I would consider probably going to be the catch of the year in week 1. That little one-handed grab over, I think it was Eli Apple. I mean, that's kind of what you get when you spend a whole offseason working with team captain Odell. And Dawson Knox, we touched on that a little bit. Kevin, talk to your boy. But everybody did a good job this week. I thought everybody played pretty well, putting up 150 points, getting a classic Mahomes performance. Can't ask for much more. Hopefully the touchdowns will be coming next week.
Indeed. All right. On the flip side here, Philly Cheekles only putting up 137. Like we said, they were coming off their first playoff appearance in franchise history last season. Their fans are hoping to see them repeat that effort, but this was not the start they were looking for. Their 2 team leaders did show up to play. Justin Herbert with a nice 28 points, including 3 TDs. Jonathan Taylor, 30 points, even though the Colts kind of sucked. Their defense also put up 20 points for the Cheekles, even though, again, they kind of sucked and tied the Texans, which is just disappointing. But enough about that. No one else on this team put up more than 11, which add that all together, it's not going to be enough to put you over the top, especially against a historically great franchise like Cleveland Steamers. Not to kiss your ass too much.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Seeing Jonathan Taylor going up against Houston gave me flashbacks and PTSD of that 50 burger they dropped on us last year. Happy that it was only 30 this time.
Yeah, that's probably what it should have been, but
it should have been. It really should have. I was prepared for it.
But yeah, so they say it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and get back up. So they want to really establish that they're a new franchise. It'd be nice for their fans to see them bounce back after this opening week loss. All right. 5th and final game of the week. We had, after a very heated offseason between these two, a bitter matchup that saw the Pams take down Glizz Mafia 135 to 130. Like I said, this was heated all off season after Pams was going into the championship matchup last year and spent the whole week talking smack to team owner of Glizz Mafia for no apparent reason. And it has just been heated back and forth all off season since. But despite starting the fight, Pams would come out on top. Cooper Kupp, their normal team leader, led the way, showing he is not skipping a beat after his wide receiver one performance last season. 29 points, including a touchdown to start things off. And then the Bills defense, they were the first defense drafted off the board, and they proved to be worth it. 3 picks leading the way to them to get 28.5. And then coming down to Monday night, this one was close. It looked like it was going to come down the wire. Noah Fant only got 3.6, but it would be enough to hold off Russ and the Glizz Mafia from making the comeback.
Yeah, so with Glizz Mafia here, yeah, Russ, we all kind of saw that weird ending of the game. Kind of just going to leave that there, but I don't know how you pay a dude, what was it, like $250 million and opt to kick the 64-yard field goal with the game on the line. It is what it is at this point, but I know Glizz Mafia would have loved if he dropped back and slammed that thing down in the end zone for a touchdown at the end there. But just on the bright side here, we did get an absolutely incredible game from DeAndre Swift. He looked electric in the Lions game against Philadelphia, 144 yards on the ground, touchdown, also 31 yards through the air. So that's an incredible performance from Swift. T. Higgins ended up going down with a concussion in the Bengals game. So we're hoping that he's going to be able to get back this week. I know that concussion protocol is a lot more difficult to get through nowadays, probably for the better, but hoping that he's going to be able to get back on the field soon in a healthy manner. A.J. Brown picked up right where he left off after the Glizz Mafia drafted them with their first pick after releasing him into the draft pool this year, as he didn't skip a beat connecting with Jalen Hurts over the offseason, as he put up 25.5 points, 155 yards in his very first game as an Eagle. And now kind of the elephant in the room that sparked the big argument kind of last night between these two, Goggles ends up missing a kick. It was like 40-something yards, and this game was decided between like 5 points. He hits that kick. 1, the Colts are 1-0. 2, Glizz Mafia's 1-0. And 3, he's got a job on this team, and he's got a job in real life. So that kind of all spiraled out there and led to three L's for those 3 individuals there. So that was kind of what ended up being the losing factor here. Also, CeeDee Lamb 2 for 11. That's not great. But Glizz Mafia, good performance here, 130-something points. Not the best, not the worst, but definitely something that you can build on moving forward through the rest of the season.
All right. That is it for this week. We will now look ahead at the Week 2 schedule. First matchup, Texas side 10-4s taking on Glizz Mafia. Both teams looking to bounce back from 0-1. Another matchup, 2 teams looking to bounce back 0-1. PC Principal taking on the Philly Cheekles. Then we got 2 teams off to a 1-0 start. Probably most people wouldn't have suspected both these teams would be 1-0. Faze Kev taking on Wallace Pluto 84. Then we got Cleveland Steamers taking on FrancyFeast. Nick, what are you looking for in this matchup against FrancyFeast?
Touchdowns. I want touchdowns this week, especially out of one man by the name of Nicholas Chubb. I want one.
Very well said. And then final matchup, we got Sticky Mistakes taking on Pams. Thank you, boys, for tuning in. We will see you next week. Nick, any final thoughts before we get off?
Great to have football back. Hope everybody enjoyed their first week of being a couch potato and just watching NFL for, God knows, 8 hours, 10 hours of the day. Great to be back. Great to be doing these again. And just wishing everybody a successful season. And let's get this thing rolling, boys.
Yep. Sounds great. That's it for us. We will see you boys next week. Peace out.